Hi, in this first lesson of our free crypto trading and investing course, I will talk about the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency basics, how it all started, and everything that you need to know in order to have a better understanding. So today, researchers have shown that 7 out of 10 adults have heard of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. The problem is that 95% of people in the world have no or little understanding of the world of finance and even less of an idea of how cryptocurrency works. Of these two, people are far more interested in cryptocurrencies. But to understand cryptocurrencies, you must first understand the world of finance. Here is a brief history of how it all started. Since the beginning of the human race, people have exchanged goods and things necessary for a normal life. Initially, they used to exchange one item for another. One guy had fruit, the other guy had eggs. For example, they will go to the market and exchange 4 eggs for a pound of apples. The problem came when people had bigger things, like cows and chickens. How can you buy a cow if you only have 2 chickens, right? There was a need for a third entity, so coins made of precious metals were created. In the beginning, the value was not imprinted on the coins, but they were weighted. Only later the real value was imprinted on the coin. Instead of bringing coins whenever people go somewhere, you can imagine people carrying 20 pounds of gold with them in the bags when they go out. Some people have set up an institution where you can bring your gold coins and get a receipt for it. Instead of going out with all the coins, people went to the markets with a bill, and that made it easier to buy the necessary goods. The idea was that you could literally walk into a bank and ask for the equivalent of your gold banknotes. That's how banks and paper money started. Paper money was supported by precious metals, for example, gold. In 1913, Congress created the Federal Reserve to stabilize the value of gold and currency in the United States. When World War I started, the United States and European countries suspended the gold standard so they could print enough money to pay for the military participation. Later, the paper was removed from the gold standard and was not supported by anything. That enabled the printing of the money to flourish. This is the current money that we use that is called fiat money. The US government can print an unlimited amount of dollars whenever they get in trouble, but that causes other problems. One of the problems is inflation. The more money printed, the less value the money has. What would happen if you decided to save money? If you look at the following chart, you could see that what you could have bought for $10,000 50 years ago, in 2021, you would need more than $70,000. Another problem is that fiat money is not scarce. More and more money can be printed, and so every year the money is worth less and less. The only storehouse of value that retains the value is gold. But gold is not easy to store. It is not easy to divide, and it is not easy to transport. The shortage is an essential part of cryptocurrencies. For example, only 21 million bitcoins will ever be made. So scarcity is a part of the system. Even when paper money had gold reserves, just think about who could guarantee that bankers are not able to print more money than they have in reserves. The question is, what will happen if all people came to look for their gold reserves? One of the reasons for market crashes over the years is governments and central banks. If you look at the history, we have had some major stock market crashes such as Black Tuesday 1929, Black Monday 1987, technology balloon of the 90s, and others. Although all these years have been terrible, the stock market crash of 2008 was the worst of all. Not only has it shaken financial markets, but it has also destroyed global companies, left people broken, homeless, and resulted in the loss of many human lives. If you watch the movie Big Short, you know what I'm talking about. In those years, it was very easy to take debts and loans. Banks gave loans to people who had no coverage at all, and everyone was convinced that he would return it in the end. This is not the first time that banks and governments have not fulfilled people's trust. People were sick, tired, and something needed to be changed. Bitcoin has begun to thrive. Most payment systems today operate on a centralized network. The problem with this is that you have to have unnecessary and expensive transaction fees. This is usually done by a central server that monitors your balance. If you want to send money to your cousin who lives on another continent, it can take several days for one bank to talk to another bank, and sending money becomes expensive and too long. A programmer who calls himself Satoshi Nakamoto, maybe it is a group of people because Satoshi Nakamoto is just a pseudonym, has created a technology that has solved this huge problem. He successfully found a way to build a decentralized digital system, thus avoiding the need for a centralized system. He described it in a surprisingly simple way in his white paper. A decentralized system means that the network is powered by its users without the control of the third party, central authority, or intermediary. Neither central banks or governments have power over this system. A few years ago, a member of our academy wanted to send some money to Australia. To do that, he had to pick up the phone and call the bank. He listened to the music for more than 9 minutes just to start the process. He was then charged a fee for sending money plus an extortionary exchange rate that you know well what is it like in the banks. Finally, since the transaction was done through something called an intermediary bank, he was told that the recipient would probably be charged as well, although it could not be told how much exactly. The money, he was told, will be there within 3 to 5 working days. Since it was a large sum of money, he paid a commission of over $250, and if the foreign exchange range is included, maybe more. He agreed to all of that because he had no other alternatives. With cryptocurrencies today, we can send bitcoins, USDTs, and other cryptocurrencies directly to the other people from our phone or computer within 1 minute. No expansion, no foreign exchange fees, intermediaries, and other stuff. And the whole thing could cost a maximum of $1. So if you want to save a lot of time and money, then cryptocurrencies are the right thing to do. You control your own money using cryptocurrency. This is what we call a decentralized system. You may be able to pay and receive money anywhere in the world at any time. Your transactions are virtually immune to any influence from your government with minimal processing fees, which prevents users from having to pay additional costs from banks or any financial institution. Now that we know how it all started and what the problem is in the world, we can talk about cryptocurrencies. So, what exactly are cryptocurrencies and what is blockchain? Cryptocurrency is a digital currency, a combination of two terms, cryptography and currency, which can be used to securely digitally transfer money to another person without the use of intermediaries or trusted third parties. So this is a currency that is protected by cryptography. Cryptography is an old way of hiding certain information from unauthorized parties by turning information into illegible numbers, letters, and symbols. The most important thing in this regard is that no central body keeps record and controls its liquidity. Every person who uses the internet has access to a record of all transactions and certain cryptocurrencies. Here comes the idea of a blockchain. There are two ways to secure digital currencies. The first is to use the encryption technology I already mentioned. Another way is to have a public ledger in which all transactions are kept. Thousands of computers around the world are connected to display this ledger. They are refreshed and updated every minute. This network of computers that are all connected in this way is called a blockchain. You can trust the blockchain because that means that every transaction is verified over and over again by all computers. With thousands of computers connected around the world saying the same thing, the integrity of this book has been preserved. Each cryptocurrency can have its own blockchain, although some are common. Let's say that you want to send $100 to someone. Somehow, someone has to monitor these transactions to avoid counterfeiting or anyone who claims not to have received the money. In the past, central banks kept the details of transactions in something called a book. This is based on a centralized system. With Bitcoin, the whole system has turned upside down. Instead of a centralized system that controls the general ledger, thousands of computers around the world now keep a copy of this ledger. This is where each individual transaction is stored, from the beginning until today. This is a decentralized system called blockchain. That is the whole point of a decentralized system. Computers allow it to remain decentralized and in the hands of many, unlike the hands of a few who try to control many. I hope that you understand who I'm talking about here. And there are two ways to get Bitcoin. You can either buy it at a current price in some of the exchanges like Binance, Gate, or others, or you can mine Bitcoin. The analogy is like digging for gold. However, with digital currencies, it's a little different. With cryptocurrencies, you have to do it through something called proof of work. Proof of work refers to the fact that if you want Bitcoin, you have to prove that you did the job and in return, you get paid in Bitcoin tokens. In cryptocurrencies, this is done by creating a scenario in which if you want to be paid in Bitcoins or Ethereum or some other currency, you have to dedicate your computers to solving problems or mathematical functions to help with the transactions. If the computer solves the problem, it proves that you have the dedicated strength, time, effort, warmth, and calculation to solve the problem. The more you do this, the more votes you're allowed. This voice is embodied in Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any other cryptocurrency you choose to mine. You get a cryptocurrency token or the part of the coin in exchange for mining. Only miners can confirm the transaction. This is their role in cryptocurrency network. They record transactions, verify them, and distribute information about transactions in the network. The advantage of this is the introduction of scarcity in the system. Scarcity is important because one of the ways anything has value is scarcity. If gold could be found everywhere, it would have no value at all. Altcoins or alternative coins is a term given for cryptocurrencies that were invented to solve the shortcoming of Bitcoin. As you may have heard, Bitcoin has many good sides, but there is still a lot of room for improvement when it comes to speed, energy efficiency, volatility, and other things. Their name comes from the fact that they are an alternative to Bitcoin and traditional fiat money. Also, the term crypto, an abbreviation for cryptocurrency, is used for all coins. Some of the known altcoins are Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, Gate, Polygon, Polkadot, and each of them has a different purpose and solves different problems. For example, the Ethereum blockchain focuses on running code or a network. Instead of creating a completely original blockchain for each new application, Ethereum allows to develop thousands of different applications on one platform. In the Ethereum blockchain, miners work to earn Ether. Ethereum solves the problems of illegal contracts online, eliminating intermediaries who charge fees from transactions. Litecoin was supposed to be similar to Bitcoin, which is gold in cryptocurrencies. The main difference between Litecoin and Bitcoin is 2.5 times of time to generate a block for Litecoin, unlike Bitcoin's 10 minutes. One of the biggest advantages that Litecoin has is that it can process a larger volume of transactions thanks to its algorithm. Faster block time also prevents double consumption attack. Today, there are thousands of different, great, underrated coins that have the potential to be worth 100 times more in the next few years, which we talk about in detail with our students. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is a topic that can be discussed for days. I try to be as short as possible, but at the same time to convey as much information. I hope that this video has helped you to better understand the world of cryptocurrencies. At the link above, you can find the whole course for free, and soon you will be able to find a free ebook in the description of this video. Thank you for watching.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning